fellow Canadians, we are among the luckiest people to be Canadian and living in Canada. It's safe and wealthy, beautiful, amazing land filled with amazing people from all kinds of backgrounds. For example, my background, I'm from Ontario, but I've also lived in Alberta, and I'm a very early Gen Z baby. I have a deep love for this land and love for my neighbors, and I say this with nothing but sincerity from the heart that Canada fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. Us, of course, meaning working class people, everyday folk. We see it everywhere, every day. Things getting worse. Very empathetic towards one another, and we generally want what's best for people. But everything is getting worse and worse for us. Giving up on ever owning a home, less access to healthcare, inflated grocery prices, down to the fucking weather. I cannot stress how dramatic the climate has changed in Canada. Canada's warming at twice the global average. Enormous forest fires are an annual thing now that can happen almost anywhere in the country. Foundations of society are failing. Climate change-induced disasters will accelerate, becoming more lethal. We, the working people of Canada, are suffering. And more suffering is inevitable without dramatic, radical policy changes. The underlying truth is that capitalism has eaten the soul of our society. The greedy ruling class of people just want more and more money. We can't afford our own neighborhoods where we grew up. We're being priced out. So we need radical change in Canada. Where are leaders? Well, premiers and Mark Carney are heading to a lovely 4-star resort in Muskoka District, which is associated with the richest GTA residents and their luxury cottages. Look at this resort. It's got a golf course. It's crazy. I kid you not. The Canadians are suffering, and look where they're at. They're out of touch. These are the most powerful people in the country. They have the ability to change things and fix things and improve things, but they won't. What are our leaders' plans? Well, our leaders are fighting over how much they will accelerate climate change by drilling for more oil. Drill, baby, drill. Conservatives and liberals agree on submission to Trump. On the oil front, liberals will claim that their plan will use new technology like carbon capture and sequestration that will make decarbonized barrels.
Opportunities, yes, for an oil pipeline to get to Tidewater. Now, within the broader context of national interest, the interest is in, as mentioned in the press release, decarbonized barrels.
Decarbonized barrels. An impossible concept. And by the way, right now, CCS is a joke of a technology, and Carney's getting this idea directly from the oil sands billionaire lobby, so.
We know that there is a group of oil sands companies that have been advocating for some time for what they call the Pathways Project that would decarbonize the production of their bitumen through the use of carbon capture, utilization, and storage.
It's a stupid idea. It's a stupid plan. It gets us nowhere and makes things even worse. Here, it's like this. So, the working class are being handed a bowl of by the ruling class. Now, Mark Carney comes out, opens his hand, and reveals some sawdust. Ooh. He sprinkles it on the bowl, and Carney says, "This is a de-pooped bowl of," and then he says, "Eat it. The billionaires need the business. You must make some sacrifice." And by the way, the billionaires are the ones selling for the bowl, the shit, and the sawdust. And it's not just on pipelines. Carney will force you to make sacrifices to pay for the tripling of our military budget in addition to pipelines. And make no mistake, Poilievre would have been doing the exact same things if he won. That was my favorite part of election night. But now we've got millionaire world banker Carney in charge. Poilievre would have somehow, if it's even possible, been more subservient to Trump, which is crazy. It's because liberals or conservatives, it's the same. Everything is getting worse for us, whether it's red or blue. It has not mattered. They are both neoliberal parties for and by the ruling class. They love wealth inequality. They demand it. in Canada, I don't think we want American-style politics. We don't want a two-party system where it's red versus blue and they both give you the same shit. Capitalism is the foundational issue, the structural issue. It doesn't work in practice, and it doesn't even sound good in theory. Neoliberalism is dead. It poisons our beautiful land, and it poisons us. It pits us against each other to fight for the scrap resources left, while the ruling class sits on hordes and hordes of money. In order to maintain capitalism, Carney is going down the appeasement route with Donald Trump. That's right, the genocidal arch-abuser, a decrepit, sick, old pedophile man, Donald Trump. Why would Carney give him any concessions? So here's my pitch. There are three main threats to Canada in 2025, all of which are existential and immediate crises that need action. We need actual action. Number one is protecting Canadians from America's genocidal fascist ideology. Number two, an affordability crisis and wealth inequality. And number three is climate change. Our capitalist government can't address our crises. These have been crises that have been brewing for a long time now. And how come it feels like societally we're so unprepared? Because we are. We are unprepared. In order to adequately address these issues, I think socialism is the way forward. It would empower us, the working people, and it would make a better world for all of us. Governments are supposed to allocate resources across society and protect its residents. And us working people are clearly losing on the resource allocation side. We're being asked to make sacrifices.
If we are moving to the higher and higher levels of defense spending because that's necessary, then we will have to make considerations about what less the federal government can do in certain cases and how we're going to pay for it. None of these goals will come easily or quickly. All will require ambition, collaboration, and yes, on occasion, sacrifice.
Now, where are those resources going to? The winners are the wealthiest Canadians and giant corporations, American corporations even. It's a wealth transfer from the poorest and working class up towards the richest. And this highlights how wealth inequality is a blight on Canada. Let's look, for example, at Carney caving on the digital services tax. He gave away $2 billion of our money, and that's not even including the more we would have gotten in the future with this tax, and he handed it to the largest American tech companies, a theft from our pockets, and he got nothing in return. He just gave that to Trump because he asked.
Very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America, and it was a mistake for Canada to vow to implement that tax that would have hurt our tech companies here in the United States. The president made his position quite clear to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister called the president last night to let the president know that he would be dropping that tax, which is a big victory for our tech companies and our American workers here at home.
And Mark Carney's going to make us pay for it. In addition to the theft and giving our money to Amazon and Facebook and Netflix, it's like the opposite of what we need. It's a wealth transfer, stolen from our pockets, going right into the pockets of the wealthiest. Mark Carney's, by the way, a ruling class multi-millionaire and former head banker of 2 countries. He's not going to raise taxes on the wealthy people to pay for it. That's his taxes. Why would he raise his and all his friends' taxes? It's class warfare, wealth transfer, and class warfare. The ruling class is dominating us, and austerity is their whip, cutting taxes on the wealthy, militarization at the cost of the public sector, privatization of the public sector. The suffering will continue. The wealthiest and out-of-touch politicians are squeezing society dry of all development and hope. When was the last time you felt hope for Canada? We're being beaten bloody. I say no more. We fight back together against wealth inequality in this country. We have to remove the poison. And there's a better way to do it instead of making things worse, and it's socialism. I think Canadians and Canadian society broadly is ripe for a revolution in our politics and how we see things. Politics for us, for you, for your family, people who have gone underserved. We live so close to the American border. We are currently integrated with America's military and military-industrial complex. America, run by Trump's mushy fascist brain. He's irrational, unpredictable, senile, and dangerous. He's only going to become more unstable. He's not going to stop. And remember, Trump is not hiding his personal desire to annex Canada as the 51st state. Trump's a fascist lunatic committing genocide in Gaza. He's militarized. He's turned militarization towards Americans in order to ethnically cleanse America. Everyone can and will be a target under his power. Right now, they're mainly focused on attacking Latino Americans. Red lights should be going off. Canada neighbors a militarized fascist country. America has complete military dominance over Canada. The working class needs to take power and push back against America and its fascist ideology. Here's where I'm going to take some time and talk about Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, the face of the pedophile elite. He was trafficking minors and abusing them, sending them to be by some of the most powerful people on the planet. Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years, at least. Said so by Jeffrey himself. He trafficked hundreds of children, including picking up kids at Trump's Mar-a-Lago in order to film CSAM as blackmail material over the other elite. I'm quite confident that Epstein was supported by Mossad and the CIA. Epstein's story is something that unites all working class people. Doesn't matter if you consider yourself left or right. Everybody wants to defend society's children. I think we need to take some of that class unification and turn it towards economic justice, in addition to justice for these victims. And Trump's obviously implicated in it as well. Take your pick on the evidence. More red alarms need to be going off. So Carney's collaborating with America. That's the truth. He steals $2 billion of our money and hands it to American monstrous tech companies for nothing in return, because Trump told him to. Imagine you're negotiating a price with someone on like Facebook Marketplace or something, and you show up to negotiate and they just ask for $20 for nothing, and they're going to give it to their rich friend that's standing with them. Is that a good strategy? If you gave them $20, is that a good strategy? Fuck no. Now imagine that, but also imagine that you know the person demanding the $20 is a genocidal, prolific child abuser. I don't think we would give them $20. So Carney caved. He's a fascist enabler. He loves appeasement. Appeasing fascists never works. And that's why he is in opposition to us. Carney's defense of Canada from Trump is by diversifying our economy and military to other fascist enabling and appeasing governments. That's it. That's the best they have. That isn't even fighting. Carney's caved on so many different things. Canada has completely submitted to America. I think it's gross and negligent and only a recipe for disaster. Sacrifices are being pushed on us as a result. Carney, the appeaser. What is our future under neoliberalism? Austerity, sacrifices, wealth inequality, short-term profits for the wealthiest, no competent plan on climate change, and accelerating it. Neoliberalism is dead. The politics of fear and negativity are over. We need radical change, and we need to acknowledge that truth now. Now, what would a positive horizon look like? A positive future, one where we can all flourish and people are lifted up out of poverty and given access to resources to improve their life, their material conditions around them. The future of Canada needs to be a socialist one with values of peace, equality, empathy, development, and solidarity. Use that and our amazing Canadians to rebuild Canada, protect our land, rebuild a 100% renewable energy grid, rebuild it sustainably. Public utilities need to be owned by Canada, like internet, water, power, you name it. So that way people aren't trying to make a buck off of you just keeping the lights on, literally. There should be zero profit in keeping electricity, internet, and other utilities working. They should be free and covered for all Canadians. We should strengthen the resilience of our utilities and infrastructure. We need to build up defenses against climate change by taking it as a legitimate, serious, imminent threat. Humans aren't the only thing in its path. It's everything. To facilitate the rebuilding effort and to bring the power back towards the people, we need to nationalize natural resource industries owned and operated by Canada. Right now, they're all currently owned and operated by wealthy oligarchs. I would rather Canadians have it. All the development and infrastructure that needs building would be filled with high-paying, stable, unionized jobs, a wage that is enough to live off of one income, to raise a family. All of this is a massive positive jobs and training program. Stable jobs would also come from building, maintaining, operating massive healthcare expansions, like building new and expanding existing hospitals, build new government healthcare facilities in small and rural towns, and build it with infrastructure for the future, not the past. Now, in order to do this, we need to reconcile that we also have Indigenous people who live in Canada. In order to get the social agreement and buy-in is by having an equal partnership with them, not one where Carney gets to sit there and tell them what to do and they have to eat it. The path to that is to acknowledge that Canada is the colonial entity. Reconciliation must occur with all Indigenous nations in Canada. Canada must decolonize and return land. Canada needs to build good faith with our Indigenous neighbors. Indigenous consent to development must be free, prior, and informed. Canada can form an equal partnership based on shared interests of the working people and defense of the land. Indigenous people within Canada face the exact same issues as us all, most of the time dramatically worse material conditions due to severe underfunding, but unaffordability is crushing. Climate change is devastating and accelerating, and America and their fascist ideology also threatens their everyday living. Canada should do good by the people it has harmed, then look to build an equitable future. The working class must fight back on the class war, raise taxes on the wealthy to supply resources for massive critical infrastructure development across the country. It's that simple. We don't need to appease the ruling class, the establishment, the elite. This ruling class has failed the people, failed society, driven by pure greed. Fuck 'em, is what I say. Billionaires should not exist. It should be impossible to become a billionaire. Billionaires are a poison to society. It's simple. Tax them. The development and progress will help everyone. Socialism is the future Canada needs, an aspirational future, one with hope. We must be the ones to enact the change, because that change is not coming from our ruling class. Radical change is needed in order to protect our land. Canadian socialism is the answer. The NDP, the New Democratic Party, is the closest party to a socialist one. We must pull the party towards the working class and build that up from the bottom, change the NDP's politics to better align with what we need for the future. Reclaim Canada's NDP has a plan to get the ball rolling on that, encouraging donors of the federal NDP to support local by redirecting their central party donations to local riding associations across the country. This puts resources directly in the hands of people who know how to organize and people who know how to push for positive change. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my output, please subscribe and share the video. Lastly, consider organizing with a local socialist group. Love you all. Bye-bye. Free Palestine.